Good evening, and thank you very much for attending. We're going to provide each of the candidates 4 minutes to speak on a series of 5 questions, and then after the 5 questions, we will, I think, take a break. And then we have questions that were submitted, which I will read out, and depending on whether it's for a commissioner candidate or a candidate for House District 14 or Senate District 7, you will be given the opportunity to address those questions. Okay, I would like to introduce the candidates for County Commissioner. Rana LaPierre, okay, Dennis Hildebrand.
Hello.
That's all right. Great, thank you. And Lori Johnston.
Right here.
Great, okay, oh good, you're all here, right there. Okay, wonderful. And then House District 14 candidates, Jesse Nichols.
That's me.
Very cool. Marlish Schwaderer, is that correct?
Correct.
Is standing in for her son,
Yes.
Nicholas. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, and then Senate District 7, Rick Seaman.
Yes.
Thank you. Jennifer Fielder. And then Mark Sheets. Okay, very good. And there are 2 other candidates, one for House District 14. Her name is Christina Johnson. However, she was unable to make today. And also John Marshall was unable to make this evening's event. He is running for Senate District number 7. The first question, and this is questions for all of the candidates. Why are you running for office?
First of all, I'm representing Nicholas. He will be here June 2nd, for anybody who's wondering. And we will make sure his new phone number is published beautifully. His current phone number that goes through Skype is on his website that I'll clarify in a minute. Nicholas received these questions, so I'm speaking with what he has answered. First, I would like to apologize for not being in attendance tonight and sincerely thank my mother for reading my answers to these questions on my behalf. The help and support of my family has been invaluable in this process. I finished my last law exam in Plymouth, England last Thursday and should be touching down in Superior the first weekend of June. I am running for office because I was privately asked by community members to run last year. They asked, being familiar with my past policy experience and my passion for the prosperity of the area. Montana is currently at a turning point with an estimated $400 million budget surplus. The decisions policymakers take over the next session will decide whether we can shrink government and help local industry to become competitive with states like North Dakota. If we simply use the surplus to continue to grow government, we will see our fates shift to that of the 48 states that fell into deficit spending during the recession. From the housing bubble to the economic collapse to the high cost of living and expensive education, the government has been the most responsible for holding us back economically. I will go to Helena to fight against government intrusion into our lives. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'm a very concerned citizen and business owner, and I've seen a lot of my customers leave and young people leave and tons of houses up for sale and in foreclosure, and it's devastating to me to see this county really drying up, I'm afraid. I believe when you truly love something, you should protect and enhance it, and I believe I can give back to this community, which have supported me for 12 years more with our businesses that we currently have. I really see our county in trouble. We need to get to our resources. We need to get good jobs here, get job creation, and just get in there and get the timber and the minerals and whatever we can to make this place great again. I believe as a business owner, I can bring a valuable perspective to the Board of Commissioners. There's a lot of things I deal with. As a business owner, it's very similar to a county, budgets, dealing with people, dealing with disputes between coworkers, customers, citizens. You know, it's something I do every day. I was approached by a lot of people. I didn't think I was going to get into politics because, again, I'm a business owner, not politician, but I just really feel a calling to do this and to try to make this place better for all of us. I'm brave, I don't back down. I don't like to take no for an answer, but I do know that you can catch more bees with honey than vinegar. And I know how to diplomatically work with people, deal with a lot of regulations, a lot of officials, a lot of government. I own bars. I mean, you can imagine the red tape, and Napa and chemicals and OSHA, you name it. So you always need to know how to be diplomatic and handle people in authority and work together. I really see that this county has a lot of wonderful groups of people, but no one seems to want to work together. I'm on the chamber, they're great. We're trying to outreach to the commissioners about maybe a county cleanup. We're trying to do a community sign here to get people to pull off. The Alberton Foundation has approached me. We're doing fundraisers, trying to help the relay. I love to help people. I mean, there's a lot of people that come in every day. I need medication. Can you hold a check? Can you get me a car part and I'll pay for it? Whatever you can do. I'm always trying to help people and give back because it's important, I have a lot of free time. I've got an excellent staff. I've got people that have worked for me for years, some of them 12 years, and they are wonderful. I can delegate to them. I don't have to bartend. I don't have to stand behind the counter at Napa, unless on a rare occasion when my husband's out of town trying to pay our property taxes. I have a lot of time, and I love to fill every inch of free time I have with a challenge. I'm always brainstorming and thinking and Googling stuff and looking at legislation and looking at ways that we can really get in there and make a change here. We really need to. I'm very proud to live here, and I want to make it a place that other people can proudly call home, and I want to fight for you guys. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Dennis Hildebrand, and the question is, why am I running for office? I've been here in Mineral County since 1978, and I've been involved in the county and the local community very actively all that time as Joe's citizen, just like you, working from the outside, trying to be a positive force for the citizens of the community and the town where I live in. And I see many things that can be enhanced or changed. I speak up, I go to meetings, I participate in a lot of our community activities. I feel that the next step for me is to be in a different role, the other side of the fence, where I can give more guidance and direction as a county commissioner instead of just as a citizen. And as that role, I think that I'm capable, I'm qualified to represent all of the people in Mineral County, and I think that I have the essence and the fortitude to continue doing all the things I've been doing already, and with more effect as, in this case, as a county commissioner. I believe that the things are changing at the state level, and for some of the candidates I have met that at the governor level and below, a lot of them are speaking the same thing that I have been speaking for many years, and hopefully they will get in there and we can use a bottom-up and a top-down approach to get things accomplished. I think this is the right time for me and for us to be able to assert our needs and express our goals for what we want to do to become a better community. I'd like to strive for getting jobs and developing our natural resources, developing our people resources. And one of the things that is also going on is, since we are 93% federally managed lands in the county, that's a big stone around our neck pulling us down because of lack of active participation with utilizing our natural resources. So not only do we have the people resources that I want to enhance and get going, I want to do the same thing for our natural resources. I believe that the Forest Service, in this case because they are our land managers, are in a position now to start being more willing and able to work with us. In the last 2 years, I've been involved in several public relationships with the Forest Service in managing programs that will enhance the enhance the flow of getting our resources again developed. That's been a real big learning experience for me, and I think that all ties back into jobs and getting something more productive for this county. As county commissioner, I'll be in a quality, favorable position to enhance that. And I would like your vote to let me continue to work for the people that way. Thank you.
I'm Lori Johnston, and I'm a third-generation Mineral County resident. I've seen, living here for all my life, I've seen the changes in our county, and it's sad to see what's happening. The economy in the county is kind of going the way we don't want it to go. We've seen small businesses close up. I worked for Tricon Timber for 19 and a half years, and when Tricon's having to get their timber from eastern Montana, and we've got the dead and dying timber here, you know, we need to be able to use our resources. And also, my son growing up through high school worked for a local outfitter here. He paid his way in college by guiding. The local outfitters and the businesses here are hurting because the wildlife is gone because of the predators. I want to be able to do something, you know, to bring our wildlife back. I remember, you know, hunters going over into the Cedars, you know, going through here, getting groceries, filling up their fuel or vehicles with fuel, and that's what I want to do. That's one reason why I'm running. Also, the recreation. Our forests and our roads are being closed down to recreation. There's a lot of people that love to ATV, snowmobile. We're getting shut down. And as your county commissioner, you know, I would like to do what I can to help. I worked for Tricon for 19 and a half years, and it was hard work. I put in 12-hour days. Some of those was on my own time. I worked with broken thumbs, broken fingers, never missed a day of work. That's how dedicated I was to my job. And as your county commissioner, I will be just as dedicated and put in 100% to the job. Thank you.
My name's Rick Seaman, and I've lived in the district for 37 years. And the reason that I'm running is because I think it's time to pay back for some of the good things I got to have while being in the district. My wife does genealogy, and the other day she says, "You know where your mom and dad were married?" And I said, "No." And she says, "They got married in St. Regis, and you could have pushed me over with a feather." So I do have actual ties to the county. And you know, the main reason that I decided that I should run is because Sanders County is number 2 in the state for unemployment. Mineral County is number 4 in the state for unemployment. Statistically wise, I couldn't find out for sure what the unemployment is in Frenchtown, but I imagine it's pretty dire seeing how the pulp mill shut down. And to me, the way to solve that is to get involved and push for things that'll help the economy grow. And first of all, you need to work with the cities, with the city government, go to the county government, go to the state government, push it off to the federal government and get their attention that we need to do something in these states, especially here in Montana, to do whatever we can to get our economy going again. And since we're primarily in these 2 counties, or all 3 of them for that matter, are involved with the timber industry, I think that one of the things we need to do is start pushing for things that will get our economy back on track. It's just like the pellet mill out here. They can't get enough natural resources from the woods so they can upsize and be able to furnish the pellets they need. But the hospital here has made an agreement they're going to use them primarily as long as they can furnish that. So they're doing what these entities are doing what they can to keep the economy growing. Sanders County, they ship their pellets in from Idaho, and there are ways to get people to move in there and make pellets if we could get the natural resources turned loose. And I think one of the other things that got me involved is because I just reached that age where I retired from with Social Security, and so I can see I'm not in that situation because I get other retirements, but those who are locked into Social Security are under dire straits. They can't look forward to a better life. They can't even plan a vacation because they don't know when their property taxes are going to go up, because that's the only way currently they have to fund the schools and the hospitals and stuff. So if we could get our economy back on track and spread that around, that's the kind of things that got me interested in doing this, is so everybody could look forward to a great future. Plus, we've all got children, grandchildren. They need a future, so we need to do everything we can to make this the great state it once was by bringing the economy back, by smaller government and less taxes. Thank you.
Thank you to the Mineral County Chamber of Commerce for hosting this candidate forum. I know it takes a lot of work to put on an event, and I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Fielder. I'm running for Senate District 7, representing Mineral County, Sanders County, and the westernmost piece of Missoula County. And the reason that I'm running for office is not because I want to be a politician, or I want the acclaim or the glory, or want any advantages of running for public office. The reason I'm running is because I'm really deeply concerned about the direction that our country has been headed in for a while now. And I feel like it may be too late for our country. We've gone so far down the wrong road, but it might not be too late to protect Montana from going down that road. So what I plan to do when I get to the Senate is to stand up for Montana as a state, force our federal government to go back to following the Constitution that protects our state and the rights of the people in it, follow our state constitution, which also reiterates those same values that Montanans developed for Montana. Constitution was developed to restrict government and to protect the rights of citizens from government, from over government. And if we would follow these things, we wouldn't be in half the problems we're in right now as a country. Montana is full of very independent people, independent-minded people, rugged individualists. We like to work hard, do things ourselves, do it our own way. But we've got to get together, and we've got to figure out what it takes to get it right and to get it straightened out. And I believe that if you don't know anything about history, you're probably just overwhelmed with what's been going on. Even if you look at just your lifetime, it's so confusing to understand why we are where we are as a country and as a state. But I've been really interested in history for a long time. And so I've been able to connect the dots of what human nature has done in the past. And some people will say that times have changed and this was written 200 some years ago, so we don't, it's old and outdated. But human nature doesn't change. It doesn't. Mankind has gone through the same types of problems over and over and over again. Technology changes and our interests and our fashions change, but human nature doesn't change. Government always has a tendency to get bigger and bigger and bigger and more powerful, while the common people get less say in what it does. And that's exactly where we're at. And so my job will be to stand up for the people that put me in office, to remember they're the ones I represent, not the politicians over in Helena. I'm not a party line person. I'm going to do what's right for the people of my district and the state of Montana. I'm going to ensure that we're following our Constitution at every chance that we can, because if we do, it's really pretty simple. There's not that many problems we can't solve by getting it right. I believe that I'm the most qualified candidate for this job because I will be able to do the real math, get to the root of problems, to balance our budget, to help us to live as a government, to live within its means, just like we do as people. We have to balance our checkbook. And there's a lot of slick words in bureaucracy now disguising the truth of what they really mean. I've been working with the Forest Service quite a bit on the timber management plans. There's all kinds of hidden words in there that make it hard to read, but it's a 1,200-page document that they're about to approve, and it's full of a lot of terrible things that are going to really adversely affect our economy. You think we're in trouble now, just wait till these plans go through. So I'm a person who will get to the root of the problem. I'll study the problems, and I will call to task the people that are responsible for making the decisions, remembering that it's you that I serve, and I'm one of you. I'm not going to go there and pretend like I'm better than you or that I know better than you. I'm one of you. And if you'd like to have me serve you, I'm going to need your vote, and I'm going to need your help spreading the word to other people too. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Mark Sheets. I'm from Thompson Falls and running as a Democrat for the Senate. The reasons I'm running primarily is that the last legislative session I thought was a real embarrassment. On it, when we ended up on national TV, on the Colbert Report and the news because of some of the bills that were being put forth, debated in the legislature, when there were many more important things that needed to be addressed, I thought it was real bad, a real waste of time taking place there. Also, the last legislative session was trying to overturn some citizen initiatives. And again, these are voted in by the people. I don't think the legislature has the right to overturn what individuals in the state had already voted in and agreed on from there. Also, they tried to overturn a city ordinance. The state, has nothing to do with the city. The city itself can take care of itself, and again, maybe work in partnership with the state, but it shouldn't be mandated down one from the other. Also, personal choices in which you have your own, personal decisions to make, and the legislature tried to then legislate some of those so that they took those choices away from you. And I think this is very important for that. Other things I'm running is that funding. Again, the last session, education was not fully funded. Anytime you don't fully fund those things, then that information or the money then has to come from local sources, which drive up your property taxes. Property, keep getting higher, 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 and pretty soon a person can't afford to stay in their home. On it, if they would fully fund those, that would help keep the property taxes down. Also, it would prevent cuts taking place into the schools, in which you would then have, again, better employment, and it all the way across the board for it. Another reason I'm running is I'm just tired of the politics of fear and misinformation. And it's happening so much that they're trying to make you believe that there's a boogeyman under everybody's bed and he's going to come out and get you. And so with it, it just plays on this fear for people. Example of that is this right here that took place in Trout Creek just this last week.
Where did that take place? I didn't hear.
It was in Trout Creek. And with that, those types of meetings and information, was totally false for a lot of it. So on it, it's just feeding the fears for the people. On it, there was nothing in forest plans or anything that says there's no berry picking, no firewood gathering, no hiking. There's nothing in there that regulates any of that. Again, for the hunting, it's for there, the Fish and Game manage that. So on it, it's those types of things that actually cause us to be divisive and to be working against each other, where if we're going to get anything to happen positively, everybody needs to work together, learn to compromise a little bit, and work toward a common solution rather than be fighting against each other. If you can get the county, the state, and also the city governments to work together, a lot of positive things can happen, and those positive things then will help to buoy everybody up, and also to help with jobs and other things taking place in your community. Thank you.
There we go. Hi, my name is Jessie Nichols, and I'm running as an independent for the House District 14 seat. I was asked by people in my community if I would run, and I thought, well, that's silly. Why would I want to do that? But after watching the last legislative session and watching bills come through about personhood and whether or not we can have a concealed weapon in Helena and spear hunting, I thought, well, there's some really important things that we should be working on, and I don't think those are it. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous, can you tell? Anyway, I'm running as an independent because I feel like the party lines are hurting us. There's very little cooperation. There's very little neighbor talking to neighbor because of the R and because of the D. And I feel that if we can come together without the labels, we can come and make more meaningful decisions that will actually help us, that will hopefully do some good rather than just the constant bickering over hot button issues. And I know why they pick those hot button issues. Because coming up with real solutions for some of our economic problems are hard. They're hard work. They take a lot of critical thought. And I think I'm capable of that, and I hope you do too. So those are the main reasons I'm running. I don't feel represented by either party, and I want to see some meaningful change happen as opposed to infighting and bickering. And I think we can do better.
And you know what, Jesse?
Yes.
You're going to be leading off on the second question.
Oh, right.
Are you
I'll
okay
just-
with that? So that
Here
way
we go.
The second question is, what do you think are your main qualifications to serve in public office?
Okay. Well, I think to serve in public office, you need to be willing to serve in public office. I think you kind of have to have a thick skin, which I think I can handle. I think most moms can, because we don't always get our way. And I think that my education has helped. I'm a product of public school education, and I will stand by public education and support it. I went to a state college and received my bachelor's degree in anthropology, sociology, and a minor in elementary education. I've actually done practicums in elementary schools, and that's when I was like, oh dear, this is a hard job, and realized that wasn't for me. And so I feel like I have a good bearing on what's possible, and I think that all of my jobs, mostly service industry jobs, I put myself through college bartending and waiting tables and working on an organic vegetable farm and snowboard instructing. So a long and varied employment history, and right now I work at the feed store in Alberton. I talk to ranchers, farmers every day, and many of us very small farmers. And I think that I kind of have an idea about what it is that is holding small farmers back from getting what they produce to us. And I think that could really improve our economy. There was, in Kalispell recently, they just decided, their school district decided to buy only local beef. It actually saved their school district $3,500 and put $35,000 for the next school year right into their local economy. And so I think we can come up with creative ways to improve our economy. And yeah, I think those are my qualifications. Thank you.
Okay, my main qualifications I feel for this is that I've been 10 years on the Thompson Falls City Council representing Ward 2. I've been 4 years with the Sanders County Resource Advisory Committee. I put in 4 years with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Citizens Advisory Committee with Region 1, and also I taught school for 23 years along with that. With dealing with all of these things, primarily I've had to work with a lot of people with a lot of varied interests, backgrounds, and views on things. And to get anything done, for example, with the city, you have to be able to, state your view, keep everything in an even balance, and from there try to reach a decision in which you're going to benefit the greater number of people onto there, and also to work within the budgets and other things and constraints that you have. I found out when you get into public office that there are a lot of state rules and regulations that you have to follow. Many times your hands are tied, and with that, you just have to shrug and go with that, and work the best you can within those areas. When you're teaching, again, the variety of people that I've had to deal with, from administration to other teachers to the students, parents, and to work within that framework to get the best that you possibly could out of those students was hard to do at times. At times you had to make some decisions you didn't like, in which whether a student passed or a student failed, even though you liked them a lot, but you didn't have any choice, and you had to try to be as fair as possible with everything that you did onto that. Also, for the area here, I've lived in western Montana for over 50 years, and with that, I've done a variety of things. My dad worked in a sawmill, my son worked in a sawmill, my brother's working in a sawmill. I've worked in the woods, I've fought fire, a variety of different things from there. So I understand what is going on in the timber industry and what is taking place with that. It's tough because you're dealing now with large economies that you're trying to work with, and if you can get as much taken care of locally, it would really help out. Like was mentioned, where Thompson Falls, they went ahead and they put the boiler in there using wood waste. Had a lot of problems with it. Slowly things are working out. Darby has the wood waste boiler in there. The hospital in Plains also has a wood waste boiler. So I mean, more of these types of things could be pushed forward. That would help quite a bit. But otherwise, I think just the biggest thing is willing to serve, willing to put in the time, and willing to work with other groups and other folks to try to reach some type of a solution that is the best for everybody. Thank you.
I feel like everything I've done my whole life has prepared me to be able to serve well in this capacity. I have always stood up for the little guy, the underdog. I've always cared about my community so much that I spend more time volunteering on community projects in civic leadership than probably anybody in the community I live in. And it's because I don't sit around and wait for someone else to do it. If something needs to be done, I step up and I do it. And I've been given a gift of being able to create visions for communities and to share those visions with other people and to help them to see that vision and to move that community towards that vision in a way that will help that community be a better place for families, for business, for the elderly people. I'm really interested in history. I'm really interested in kids. I volunteer at the Sanders County Historical Society. I've been elected as president of that organization. And I spearheaded a project to build a new playground in downtown Thompson Falls. And a lot of the people there said it wouldn't be possible to do it. It's a very aggressive dream to build this very nice playground. And we did it. We raised the money privately. We didn't ask the city council to do it. We knew the city was pretty strapped. And we didn't feel the government should be spending its money on a playground. So I asked the city council, Mr. Sheets is a member of, if we could form a volunteer citizens committee and do this for the city, and we did. And I just finished it at 6 p.m. last night, putting in the final sod and irrigation system for that. But it was about a 3-year segment of my life that I dedicated to it, because when I went to city council, I told them I would volunteer on it until it was done. I have a business that does those types of things for a living. But, and there were several times when people with the city and other people told me I should be charging for it, but I made a commitment from the beginning that I would volunteer until it was done. So never once did I ask for any funding for my business for that. And that's the kind of person I am. When I make a commitment, I keep it. I don't give up. I don't quit. And I don't take what the government tells me for the gospel either. The citizens meeting in Trout Creek, Montana, last week, we read that 1,200-page plan that Mr. Sheets referred to. He read the executive summary of it, of what they said. We read the plan, And we put up the quotes from their plan. Quotes like 36% of the Kootenai National Forest is deemed suitable timber, and 64% of it is deemed unsuitable timber. Although the forester himself said that you can't not grow trees on the Kootenai National Forest. There's massive potential. There's 400 million board feet coming up on those acres every year, but yet the forest is closing that down. So I read the plan to find out why they're closing it down and to look at what decisions they're making to base those decisions on. They're not closing all the forest down, they're only closing a few 100,000 acres. You know, they're not closing all the roads, they're only closing somewhere between 258 miles and 2,222 miles, that's all. That's all they're doing. So I get to the root of the problem, and I think that's what qualifies me the most for this job, because I'm not going to stand around and listen to what the government tells me is right. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to go to the record, I'm going to go to the root of the information, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to tell people about it. The federal government's really mad with me right now because I helped organize that town hall meeting to share with the citizens what's really going on. They were supposed to meet with us today, our Citizens Coalition. This meeting had been scheduled for a long time. They didn't even show up. They didn't even show up. Because we enlighten the public about what they're about to do. And it's going to happen here too.
Well, I think the thing that qualifies me most for this position is that, number one, as I said before, is I've lived in the district for 37 years. I spent 33 and a half years in law enforcement, and if you don't think that that gives you experience with dealing with trouble, then you ought to ride with a patrolman someday. So, at any rate, I was a Vietnam veteran. I served 4 years in the Air Force. I spent 20 years on a school board here in Superior, and that is an enlightening thing because you represent the parents, you represent the school, and you have to deal with those employees, and it gets all twisted around because the school board happened to be the boss and the rest of them work for you, but a lot of times you get twisted around to where everybody feels that the superintendent's the boss, and that's not how it works. So if it works the right way, you solve a lot of problems, and that's what you need to do. The same as when you go to legislature. There's going to be a lot of problems, and you need to work with a lot of different people to solve the problem, and I think I'm willing to do that. I spent 20 years as this scoutmaster here and had several Eagle Scouts from that group of boys, and that was a great experience to show young men how important life experiences are, and to learn those things which you learned in the scouting program, because 2 or 3 of those boys come back and told me if it hadn't been for being an Eagle Scout, I wouldn't have got the job I got. Excuse me. I also spent 10 years helping out in 4-H because I felt that my children, because of the area we lived in, they needed to understand that if you raise it and you can eat it, then you have more appreciation for it. Although I didn't appreciate chasing cattle around in the field trying to teach them how to lead, but at any rate, it was a great experience for my children. Also, in the process of all this, I spent 20 years volunteering to drive the out-of-town buses to all the activities for kids that I could, and the main reason I did that is so they could save the district money that they could use for more educational purposes. And since I was going that way anyhow, it didn't feel like I was volunteering. I was just getting a ride to go there, and I happened to be qualified for that. I grew up in a family that owned a sawmill and a logging operation, so in my early years, summers I spent either in the woods or I spent down in the sawmill cleaning out underneath it or stacking lumber. Didn't take me long at all to realize I didn't care for the sawmill, but they're a necessity. And the logging part was great for me. I like the outdoors, taking care of Mother Nature. And because when we first moved here, logging was going great, the sawmills were going great, and it was a great place for everybody. And there's no reason we can't get back to that. We just need to put the pressure on in the right places, and we all need to get together from the bottom to the top and put the pressure on so we can get everybody back to work. And I think life experience in general is the greatest thing I got going, because I've tried it all and I've experienced a lot of things most people don't. And so I'll use that experience to get along with all the people I work with and to express the opinions of the people that I represent. And so I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
What qualifies me for county commissioner? Well, for one, I am a third-generation Mineral County resident. I think a lot of this county. When I first got out of high school, I went to a year of college and then came back and worked in the logging camp over in the Cedars. I was the flunky. And so I worked with a lot of loggers over there. And then I got a job working for the Mineral County Sheriff's Department. I don't know if any of you remember Russell Scott. He was the sheriff at the time. And worked there and, was his, did stuff for him and then dispatched. And then the budget got short, so I transferred over to the clerk and recorder's office. And I worked in the clerk and recorder's office for 7 years and became the deputy clerk and recorder. And in working in that office, you are responsible for the county budgets. I also did the payroll and worked with the claims, did elections, and worked closely with the county commissioners. At the time, the county commissioner's office was just adjacent to the clerk and recorder's office, so we dealt with the people coming in, and I did the minutes to the commissioners. Also, I took time off to then spend time with my little kids. And then I went to work for First American Title and did learn title searches. So being a county commissioner, there's a lot involved in knowing property descriptions. People come in and want to do a subdivision. I've worked with subdivisions, working in the clerk and recorder's office. Also, and then working in the timber industry, I dealt with a lot of loggers, and out here at the post plant, I did the shipping and worked with a lot of irate truck drivers coming in. I did a lot of work on my own time. I was dedicated to the job. I did things on my own just to make things work smoothly. I ended up being assistant supervisor out there, so I was in charge of the employees under me. And then I just dedicated myself to my job. And in being a county commissioner, I want to be able to spend time in each of the offices. It's going to be on my own time. I want to, go back in and spend the times in the offices, refamiliarize myself with the offices, and do what I can to be a better commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to talk again. I'll try to keep it short. Yeah, one of the things that when we're trying to figure out what are our qualifications for the particular office that we want, we start telling about all of our self-essence of who we are, and that's what brings us to the day that we are right now here in front of you. A lot of the things that drive me is science and fact and things of reality rather than imaginations. Now, imaginations aren't necessarily wrong because that's what gives you your goals and where you try to strive from. But you still need to make decisions based on sound science, sound facts, sound relationships of whatever it is that you're dealing with. I want to bring that to the county commission with my background in science. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in forestry, and a lot of my education and work is in the sciences field. One of the things is that I bring forth my work ethic, and I have done many community positive things that enhance the people of Mineral County, and by my involvement, I've had involvement with the mental blank, thank you, the ambulance service. I've had 36 years of that, 25 years as a volunteer fire department, including assistant chief and chief. I've retired from the Forest Service with 25 years of service. All those things are fact-based concepts that drive who I am and allow me to integrate my life in with the things that are necessary of the county. When the county commissioners then are having to deal with things, I can easily relate to simple knowledge and facts for how our county needs to respond to the different things that are happening. One of the things that also is a factor is I'm well involved in the community for the last 30 plus years that I've been here in Mineral County, and it's a continuous thing, not just a fly-by-night thing this year, last year, whatever. I've been doing it for over 30 years since I've been here, and I feel that I'm well versed in a lot of the things that are happening here in the county, well versed in the people of the county, and I feel that enables me to be the most valuable asset to become a county commissioner and represent you, and that's really important to me, to be able to utilize my knowledge, my resources, my logic in figuring things out for managing the county. And the county touches on many things, from floods to fires to just public relations, interacting with the state level issues. I think I can do all those things. I have that breadth of capability and interest in wanting to deal with people locally and the people that affect us and are affected by us. I think I have that capability. And I'll cut that off right there, and later on I can ask more. I can answer more questions. Thank you.
Okay, I believe I can bring a lot of good qualifications to this office. I'm very goal-oriented. I love challenges. I'm very resourceful. I exhaust every resource before I take no for an answer or have to give up on something. I work well with people, with employees, coworkers, government officials. I am thick-skinned. I have a lot of people telling me what to do all the time, and I take criticism pretty well. I feel I can negotiate with people. There's a lot of heated situations that sometimes erupt in the bar business or in automobile failures of a part. Trying to calm people down, prices, just dealing with people, the public. I feel that I know a lot of the concerns of the public and the people in our area because I see them every day. I hear them complaining about things and very frustrated about where our county has gone and how hard things have become to make a living here. A lot of our young people have had to go to the Dakotas, and just trying to sympathize with them and understand, and I really feel like I can do that. I don't think the commissioners have had many business owners on the board. I think I can really bring a valuable perspective on what we do. We struggle, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into our businesses, and they're very valuable in our infrastructure and keep the money local, and I employ 18 people. It's a cycle, I think that that's an important thing I can bring on to this office. I'm a good multitasker. I can handle a lot of things, a lot of stress. A lot of people always offer to help me, and sometimes I'll delegate to them. I'm excellent at delegating. I'm a direct and to the point, and I'm used to making really tough choices. And usually someone's always going to be unhappy. But that's what has to be done, you know. I love to ask for input from other people. I'm not one of those people that feel like I know everything. You know, I see something a certain way and all of a sudden somebody will say, well, you know, have you thought about it this way? And I'll ask input from my customers or my friends or whatever, because I think when you see something the same way, you can get tunnel vision. It's important to be able to take input from people and get ideas, you know. Hear their concerns. That's very important. I'm not afraid to shake things up or stir the pot. I got in trouble on Facebook for posting a tax saving issue that was about to expire for property taxes. I slammed it out there and Department of Revenue called me and said, well, you please clarify the income guidelines on that. I'm like, absolutely. So they wanted me to kind of take it off. But I'm like, no, the people of our county need to know that if you make under $27,000 as a married couple, you can qualify for a 50% reduction on your property taxes. So I stuck my neck out. I felt like it was important. I've managed to keep my businesses running for 12 years now and employing a lot of people. A lot of people count on me, and I think I can be there for you guys to count on me too. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Hello again. First of all, Nicholas is running for House District 14, and for anyone who's not real clear, that starts in the Frenchtown area. It's a little bit vague here, and then goes up and around, head up the cutoff road, and you end up over. It also includes part of the reservation and along Highway 200 Paradise area, and I can't give you the exact parameters where it stops in that area, but it's a real diverse area. And rather far-reaching on the different economic and population bases it covers. One of the things I would like to share as a mother for just one moment is Nicholas came back from a week over in the legislature with Gordon Hendrick and came back and he was so puzzled by the budget and how much money went into education that the first thing this kid did was go online and look up what our state constitution was and came out and said, you know, we actually have to do this stuff because the Constitution protects so much of the education, that he was amazed that there were that many provisions for education in the state constitution. So just as one of the qualifications that I'd like to verify I've watched is this kid does do his homework. Nicholas is a third-generation Montanan as far as this type of stuff goes. And from a community perspective, he says, I grew up as an active 4-H'er. He built the county's first community radio station. He coordinated the volunteers, the engineers, the communication with the school board, and he made an abandoned project a success. He then was valedictorian at St. Regis and an active volunteer. He wrote for the Clark Fork Chronicle for a number of years, and that began the success, or the beginnings, sorry, wrong word there, the beginnings of his network of relationships throughout this community and began to expose him to the needs and concerns within this region. From a business sense, he worked at Tricon in 2008, Tombstone Pizza in Wisconsin in 2009, and it gave him an appreciation for the needs of the business and the laborers. Finally, from a policy perspective, I can talk. He has an upcoming law degree from Plymouth University in England, and he's written for the Montana Policy Institute since 2008, and he's written for the Freedom Foundation in Olympia, Washington, where he was a summer fellow in 2011. But what the most important qualification any candidate can have is that of principle and conviction. I possess both with a unique appreciation for the Constitution, personal and economic liberty, and accountability.
All right. So the third question is, what are the most important problems facing your district right now? The most important problems, and you want to keep that brief. What will you do about trying to solve them?
Okay, the most important problems facing the district right now. Many of the unique problems in our district stem from the state of the economy and economic development. If housing takes a hit, the loggers, sawmills, and contractors feel it, and if tourism goes down, many of our travel centers, hotels, and restaurants will have a hard time. Pay close attention when you hear candidates speak. Remember, when they say they will invest in something, they are telling you that they are happy to take your money by force and give it to someone else of their own choice. The most immediate task we can do in Helena is to fight to let folks in the district keep more of the money they earn. I would support the following efforts: returning a portion of the budget surplus to the taxpayers, elimination of the lowest tax bracket, 1% on the first $2,600. For poor Montanans struggling to make ends meet, every dollar they can keep is life-changing. You are currently paying 6.9% income taxes on every dollar over $15,600. Massachusetts only has a 5.3% income tax. I think it's time we stimulate industry by finding creative ways to cut spending so we can lower that income tax. I will support lowering property taxes and lowering and eliminating many state-based regulations, business equipment taxes, bureaucracies, and paperwork get in the way of local innovation and entrepreneurship. And those are his specifics.
Lack of employment in industry and getting to our resources is a very huge problem in our community. In New Mexico and Arizona, they've lost so much of their infrastructure. I think it's very important that we protect our local infrastructure, our mills, Tricon, the pellet mill, the bark plant, because if we lose them, then we're going to be burning the trees like they do down in Arizona. So we're going to have to really protect those. That's a big concern. We need to network. I feel like we have a lot of groups not really working together. We need to network here. I want to help bridge all those breaks. The road access, getting into our forests, being able to use them, because we pay taxes on them. We should be able to have access to them and enjoy our beautiful state and our recreation, snowmobiling, ATVing, skiing, everything. There's so many things that we can do that we are losing those rights and privileges. But we need to get back in there. There's a huge fire danger here. The 1910 fire, I'm afraid, is not going to be much compared to what we're going to face if we don't get in there and manage these forests and work with the Forest Service on, even if anything, fire prevention and safety for our community. I'm going to try like heck to work with the Forest Service and take that back, that right to get in there and make it a safer place for everyone and utilize those resources and get those timber sales. We've lost school funding. We've lost the Secure Rural Schools funding. As of right now, we're hoping it will go through. It's attached to a highway bill. We can't make money on the trees, so hopefully they'll give us this hush money again, but it would sure be nice to get in there and make money, and manage it. I think we need a smaller government and less taxes and cut back all the red tape and bureaucracy. So I'm going to try like heck to do that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Fortunately, by the time we get to the end of all these, everybody's idea, we're starting to say the same things over again. And I want to say that I agree with a lot of the things that are coming up here, so I get to have credit for that too. One of the big things that is most important here for Mineral County is to get our jobs and work infrastructure back into swing. We have lost so many of our human resources, either through loss of jobs or having to move someplace else to get a decent job, as well as our natural resources that are not being utilized, that are not being managed to the point that we can bring them into our worthwhile living standards. One of the things that I want to try to do is, knowing what I know about the Forest Service, knowing what I know about the new forest plan that's coming down the pike, knowing what I know about the governor and the attorney general and other top-level state people running for office, many of them are saying the same things that I'm saying, that we need to get access back to our natural resources and start utilizing our human resources that are well experienced in being able to do this. So jobs is a very big factor that is part of that. When we get jobs, everybody will start to have more self-worth. It will help us be able to fight our drug problems. It'll help us be able to manage better the transients that come through on Interstate 90. And all these things are just little bits and little bits. They all add up to our problem. Well, they can all add up to our solution too. And so that's where that's where I want to see and drive the resources of our county and the people that we have here to make a better environment for us and make the county. Thank you.
I just kind of want to apologize. I'm not much of a public speaker. My mind works faster than what I want to say. I guess it's kind of a good thing that I'm after these two guys because they've kind of pretty much said what I was going to say as far as the economy that we have in the county. But another big problem that's facing our county is the Secure Rural Schools Act and the PILT money that we get, which is payment in lieu of taxes. This money gives the county that are in the National Forest compensation for the revenue lost because of restrictions in the timber harvesting. This money comes and it's given to the schools and the road department. The money for the road department is, we've never had a road levy. I mean, our road department sits good. But this money is invested, and that money from the investments going to run our general fund. If we lose this money, it's going to reduce our school budgets and our county budgets, and it's going to make us have higher taxes. So we've really got to do what we can to keep this money coming into our county.
Okay, unemployment. That's the big problem here. And to put the people back to work, and listening in our forums last week down in Alberton, 5 of the 6 gubernatorial candidates were there, and they all agreed that we need to take up with Utah and take a suit against the federal government to get control of the federal lands which they claim are theirs, which are ours, so we can get the people back in the woods. So to me, the best thing I can do is encourage all of you to vote for a Republican governor, whichever one it is, a Republican attorney general, because they all said we'll join in that suit and we can get things going our direction, because that's on the ground level. It's a contract between the federal government and the state, and they're not obeying that contract, and so the suit is over eminent domain because they're not taking care of it. So if you go by Helena, you go by Butte, acres and acres of bud kill, and they're not doing a thing with it. And that proves the fact that the federal government isn't taking care of it. The other thing we need to do is these frivolous lawsuits against us taking trees out or whatever else they feel like is paid by our tax money. And if they lose, it appears to me they need to pay the money back because it's a frivolous lawsuit. It's just like if you went to trial and you wanted a jury, there's 6 jurors there. If you lose, you pay for them. If you win, the state or the county or the city pays for those jurors. So it's the same thing with the federal. When they bring up these lawsuits, they should pay for them. And so to me, that would solve a lot of our problem with unemployment, because the minute you can get people back in the woods cleaning them up, and even if our housing industry isn't going, you can use the junk wood to get for hog fuel. You can use the white wood for chips, because we're not ever going to quit using paper, and there's a worldwide market for timber which we could use. Anyhow, I think that is a basis that we could get a lot of people employed and get things back on the ball, and I'm willing to support those people if we can get them voted in. So besides voting for me, vote for them, because they're the people that are the next step up that can put pressure on the federal government. Thank you.
Thank you. Definitely the number one issue that I hear from the people I talk with as I'm out meeting with people and asking what their concerns are is our economy and jobs. And Number one issue is jobs. Number one issue is private sector jobs, okay? We've got about 30% government jobs here. We've got somewhere around 20% unemployed. We've got a great portion of our community and our citizens retired. And we've got a little bit that are actually working in the private sector, paying the taxes that pay for all those other people. It's upside down. We need less government jobs and more private sector jobs. That will fix our economy, not more government jobs. I was talking with a fellow the other day, real nice man. He makes log beds, and he made one for my husband and I. Beautiful work. He goes in the forest and he gets dead lodgepole and he makes these beautiful log furniture. And he asked me how we were enjoying that, and it's a beautiful bed and all that, and we got to talking about his craft, and we got to talking about this town hall meeting about the forest and the looming closures of having access to our timberlands and our resources. And he made the comment that he hopes nobody's house burns down, but he can't wait for the next big wildfire because he's going to drive a water tender for the Forest Service. And we just got done talking about the value of timber and how that timber is real wealth, okay? You take the timber out and you create money, you create economic stimulus. But when the government pays people to go fight fires, watching our timber burn down, that resource is going to waste. Okay, the real wealth in this country is in our natural resources. It's not the paper dollar, it's our natural resources. And we're trading our timber for these dollars that aren't hardly worth anything anymore. And we think that the natives were kind of taken advantage of because they gave up valuable furs for beads and baubles to the traders. And we're kind of doing the same thing. We're giving up our timber, our minerals, our water, everything that's of value in Montana. We're giving it up for these dollars that are just declining. So definitely our economy is the number one thing. And what we need is we need more private sector experience in our government. We need people that know how to compete and think creatively and get to the bottom of what the issues are. We need less lifelong government workers running our government. We have to think differently. Thank you.
Okay, as everybody has spoke up here so far, jobs is the number one thing. On to here for timber availability. One thing that does help with that, if the people get behind the Forest Service and help them promote their timber sales and everything. On it, you can make a difference with this. The Game Range timber sale in Thompson Falls. With it, I got involved in that right from the very beginning as an individual. Help promote that because it was going to be really good for fish and wildlife. Also, you had the timber coming off of that and it would be burned along with it, and they had some weeds and other things taking place onto it and would improve recreation. It got appealed. With that, I signed up as an intervener along with a few other folks, and we actually talked the appellant to drop their appeal of the timber sale because they knew it was being looked after, and it went through. Tricon got that sale and worked on it until economically it was not possible, to keep helicoptering on it because of the cost of wood. Tricon's done a great job in which they've retooled to put in for metric. It allows them a lot of overseas markets that other mills are having problems with because they haven't retooled to that. So again, helping those types of things, getting involved with a positive aspect is good. Other things, promoting new businesses is also a good thing that the state needs to get into. Do this through, tourism promotion, people working together, for example, on the Hiawatha Trail. Again, there's room there for the bicyclists, for the four-wheelers, for the snowmobiles, even at times for four-wheel drives. It's all a possibility. People just have to work together, get that in there, hook it up with Trail of the Coeur d'Alenes, maybe get it down to Missoula. That would be a real positive thing for the whole valley to be able to do that. Thompson Falls right now is working on a trail system around in the town over the High Bridge. Again, it's a Vista is working with a trail committee, with the county, cities involved, and with everybody doing and working together, things will help. Funding of of infrastructure so that private industry is able to come in. Have good roads, have sewer, have water, have these things available for them so that they're capable of doing this. Promote local made products is a good thing. One thing that isn't mentioned though, that is coming up, is elderly care. On it, it's going to be a looming thing. For example, today is my 60th birthday, and here I am at this, but I mean, I'm getting old. On it, we need folks that are going to be there for home care to help out with that, and also for caregivers and everything, and the state needs to help fund that. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure if you've heard this before, but jobs, yes, they're very important to all of us. My sort of expertise, I wouldn't even call it that, but my experience lately in our area has been with farmers and ranchers and how we can get them to help improve our economy. In 1950, this is coming from a Montana State Extension Service study. In 1950, Montanans ate 75% of their food from Montana. That number is 10% today. You can't get a chicken grown in Montana unless you buy it from the Hutterites. They're the only ones who have a commercial, federally approved poultry processing plant. But there's no other private sector doing that, which I think our area could handle. For every percentage point that we increase that 10% in the state of Montana, we increase what stays in Montana by $128 million. That's significant. That's what buying local does. It's not just a catchphrase. It can make a real difference in our economies, like I was explaining earlier about the school system in Kalispell. That's just one example. I think our schools here in this county could do something similarly. And then we know our kids are getting grass-fed beef. We know that our kids are eating healthy, as opposed to some of the other things we may have seen on the news lately. I don't know if anyone's heard pink slime, but I've heard enough of it. Anyway. I think that we can start small. There's lots of inventive people here in this district, and I think if we can work together, we can come up with some meaningful solutions and find some employment. I would also like to touch on technology. I think we need to get more technology in our district. I think we could handle it, and yeah, we have people smart enough to utilize that to create more jobs. Thanks.
Thank you. Short and sweet is great. Will you vote your conscience, or will you vote the will of the people in your district?
You know, I don't really think that I have to choose. I think that I would be a fair representative of everyone in this district, and I don't think that anyone ever believes that they can represent every view. That wouldn't work out. But I think if I'm elected, then the people have given me their trust to vote how I think would be best for our district, and not just for who's here now, but for generations to come. Thank you.
Okay, for voting my conscience or voting the constituency, on every time that I've had to take votes in city council and other things, you have to listen to all sides. With it, you may not agree with the side that you're hearing, but still you're representing those folks, and on it you have to look at it and just go, what is going to be the best for the most? People are not going to be happy with you no matter how you vote. So with it, you look at it and you try to do the best you absolutely can. For personal conscience, you can't listen to a whole lot on that because, again, you're not representing yourself, you're representing everybody else. And it's very important to do that and try to be as fair and as objective as you possibly can. Thank you.
My conscience is with the people, for the people, by the people. That's who I am. I'm one of the people. So I will be voting my conscience. I'll be voting based on the facts and the research and the best course for whatever that decision is for the good of the state of Montana and the people within my district. I won't be voting according to the pressures I'm getting from outside lobbyists. I won't be voting according to the pressures I get from other politicians. I will be voting according to what I believe is best for the people in my district. And I have to say, that's my conscience. Thank you.
Okay, there's a couple things that I'm going to vote my conscience, and that's pro-life, Second Amendment, but other than that, I'm going to listen to the constituency and get a tally of all of them. And most of the time it's going to be on the conservative side, because if you're the ones that voted me in there, you're the people I have to listen to, but I have to study it out. And before I made a final decision, if at all possible, I would get hold of those people in the district to find out what their conscience tells them that I should vote for. But there are a few things that I'm going to vote my conscience, and I won't vary from that. So thank you.
I feel that the people of Mineral County voted me in. If they vote me in, it's the people of Mineral County that put me there. And I'm going to vote as for the people of Mineral County. Before I make that vote, I am going to look at, there's laws. I mean, there's Montana Code Annotate that tells you what you can do and what you can't do in some instances. And before I make a vote, I will listen to the people. I will research it, I will look what the law says, and that's how I will vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear what everybody has said, because I'm thinking the same thing. I'd like to reiterate some special things from me, though, on the same topics. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and partly right is also wrong. We need to be right. There's a person told me a while back that how am I going to vote on these touchy-feely, always wrong, no matter which you pick, it's going to be wrong to somebody question. And his comment to me, and I have to say, you know, that really, really fits. And he says, you're going to vote for the right thing the right way. And that has a lot of internal meaning to it. And the whole point is it goes back to my saying of right is right. And that's where you need to be from. What drives that, what is right, is the Constitution. We must follow the Constitution. The Constitution sets our groundwork, and at the federal Constitution as well as the state Constitution, and what the resulting state statutes and state laws that emanate from the Montana Constitution. From that, we get our ethics and our finances that we're able to work our county government with. All those things control us, but it doesn't say anything about morality. And that's where we have to play with, we have to at least consider what the people's issues are, and where does it fit in the Constitution, where does it fit in the statutes that are already limiting or providing for us. If it's not right, we need to change those, and there's a way to do that. And one of the things is that educating the people, making it available for them to have that intercourse with us as a county commissioner and the public. But we have to be careful that we don't step outside of the Constitution. That is super, super important. And if you do that, you're going to be fine. And that's where I come from. That's part of my heart. Thank you.
Okay. My conscience is very important to me, and I feel, I will be very honest, non-convinced, non-swayed, but I really feel it will parallel the desire and will of the people. So ultimately, it's going to be probably a no-brainer. I think that we're going to be hand in hand in any issues.
So the question is, will you vote your conscience or will you vote the will of the people in your district? And because we had to split part of that because the question was duplicated, I'm going to go back just a hair and clarify some other things I didn't say on this. Nicholas was commenting that growing up in this community, he's witnessed firsthand the effects of the decisions made in Helena on the people in the district. And now he has a renewed appreciation for these impacts as he's working now to launch his own small business here in Superior. Another thing that has impacted him that guides some of this is interviewing Ron Paul for the Clark Fork Chronicle in 2008. He wrote a story that received the most views of any story in the newspaper's history. And that time with the Chronicle also gave him unique exposure to the impact of governmental decisions on the lives of the locals. And earning money for his degree through a year of working 2 jobs in factories also gave him an appreciation for the hard work and earning your keep, something he feels government should respect. So when he's going to vote, he bases his political outlook on the clear principles of the Constitution, state and federal, property rights, and liberty. Liberty is, in the context of history, actually a new idea. But that is what he uses as a tool to measure the impact of an issue within our district. Does it impede or limit your God-given rights or freedoms? As he comes back in June, from June and through to November, he wants to make it clear on where he stands on more specific issues. But he believes that if you are well informed on the basis and his principle from where he goes forward, you will know where he stands on things, and there will be no moral dilemmas when it comes to voting on behalf of this district in Helena. It is worth noting, however, that not every single decision on every single vote will be clear in principle. It is therefore helpful for himself and you guys to keep an open line of contact to keep discussing upcoming issues and bills. Thank you.
Well, we regret to say that we're not going to have time to have the candidates field the many good questions that were asked of them. We've pared it down to 2 questions, and the county commissioner candidates will answer 2 questions. The remainder of the candidates will answer just 1 question. The first question is going to be asked of the county commissioner candidates. And there's only 3 at this point. So the question is, what are your thoughts for increasing the budget, especially for law enforcement and public safety?
That is a tough question. Right now, you know, with the tax money that we have, to increase the sheriff's office budget any more than it already is going to tax us even more. And you know, I just think that right now we just need to really watch the spending and you know, do what we can, you know, to keep the taxes down.
Thank you. I've talked with Ernie about his budget and how he's doing with what it's taken to run his outfit, and I've talked with other people that have some awareness of what the budget is, and basically I came away with the idea that Mineral County has approximately 10% of their overall budget. 10% goes to the Mineral County Sheriff's Office. That's compared to 20% and more for the rest of the state when they cut their sheriff's office budget pieces out here and there. And so in that light, we're already as minimalist as we can. Do we want to do more? Maybe, but we need to look at what's going on. Here's a saving grace that is helping Mineral County, and that is the idea that we're able to get grants, partnerships with federal grants, state grants, and a lot of those are going in there and helping run our county, our county sheriff's office. And that is really a big boon for us. We've been able to pick up at least 2 deputies, 2.5, I think, and they've been very successful in getting additional grants that are not coming out of us from our house taxes, from our other charges that where they ding us for running the county budget. And I think it's really important to recognize that and to give them credit for being innovative and picking that up. So do they need more money? Could be, but they're dealing with what they've got, and they're dealing with it really well. And so that's my answer as a non-answer, simply because we can't do anything. They're regulated by the dispersion of the monies from the county commissioners, and that all comes from you guys telling the commissioners what to do. And some of it's regulated by the state in reference to how much they're able to dole out. So I hope that is an understanding for you as to, comparison for us to other places. We're really benefiting from getting these additional grants in here to help run the county sheriff's office for the county. Thank you.
Okay. I think before we increase the budget, we need to get the voice of the people out there and find out if this is a big concern of theirs. I know that there are some funds that they do get to work with, a good bit of funds from our taxpayer dollars, and I think there's ways that as commissioners we can scrutinize those funds and how they spent them, maybe help them more appropriately budget, and explore grants and things like that as well, because I think there's a lot of that out there. Working hand in hand with the law enforcement would be very helpful in exploring new resources that we can finance them if they do need it. But I think it's more important to find out if the public wants this, and if there's waste that is already in their existing budget, if we can try to help them manage it a little better.
All right, this next question is for all of the candidates. How much money do you accept from contributors from outside the state of Montana? Do you think dollars from outside our state should be accepted, and to what amount?
And I'm going to be very honest, I will only answer stuff that I know the answer that my son would want. And I know that a couple of friends have donated like $10 or $20 to him, and that's been it. There's not an influence amount that's ever been done, former classmates or whatever. But I don't know his position on the rest, and so I apologize. But I promise you, if we get the questions, I'll make sure he gets them answered, and they'll be on his website if nothing else. And that's schwad.net.
First of all, no, I have not accepted any money from outside source, just my mom and myself. I don't necessarily disagree with if someone supports you and your ideas, and if the money does come from another state, there probably should be a limit, maybe $100. I'm not real sure, I haven't had to deal with that one yet, but I think it's important that we're not influenced by people that do give us money for our campaigns, but just be true to who you are and what you believe.
Well, so far I haven't accepted any money from out of state, not even my family, but I haven't gone begging from them either. So, and I don't intend to. And I come from a big family, and I haven't taken a penny from any of them. I don't like going out begging. Any of the monies that I've received have been people that come forth to me and say, I'd like to help you out. They understand who I am, they know who I am, they know my history, and they know my worth, and they want to support me. And so from that light, that's all that I've ever done. I've not accepted, I've not petitioned for monies outside of the state. And again, let me tell you a little bit of a real quick story. When I was a young teenager, I would sell donuts on my bicycle. I'd go to the donut factory, pick up donuts in my bicycle basket, and I'd go knocking on door-to-doors all the way home, and selling donuts. And so that's how I made my money during the summer when I was in high school, and early teens. And so the point was, I got sick of that. I didn't like going begging for money, and so that's kind of what's driving me from here. If somebody wants to donate money to me, I am very thankful for that. But I don't like putting the pressure on somebody. That sucks. And so, no, I haven't, and I don't anticipate that I will. But if somebody is generous, I will be very thankful.
And no, I haven't accepted any money out of Montana or even out of the county. The only people that I've got money from is two of my family members, and that's how I want it. I'm running for county commissioner because I want to do it. And I'm not going to have any influence from anybody else. I'm running because I'm running on what I believe is best for Mineral County, and that's the way it's going to be. And I don't think money coming outside of Montana, this is Montana. We want to keep the things the way they are. Thank you.
Well, I would suppose anybody that wants to give me money from outside the state would probably be some kind of corporation or something that they had an ulterior motive, and I can't accept that in the first place. But if my brother sent me some money, I'd take it, and he lives in Spokane. So, but anyhow, I think that's a confusing thing. I think I got more to worry about if you get elected and you go to Helen and all the lobbyists that come by and want to take you to steak dinners and all that kind of stuff. I think that would tend to be a problem because they think they're going to get something in return, which they're not unless they're giving something that's going to be valuable to all of you. Then I'll listen to them and they can take me to a steak dinner, but that's as close to taking money that other than family and people that want to support me. Thanks.
I looked into the political practice laws when I announced, or just before I announced my campaign, and you're not allowed to take money from corporations. You can take up to $160 from an individual or $320 for a couple. All of my donations have been from within the district, except my dad did send me a check. And my dad's 88 years old, and he's proud of me, and he wants me to do well, and so he's helping me to get my message out, and I appreciate that. The money that I've received from people that I didn't know, I've called them when I've received the check and talked to them about it and made sure that they understand that I don't do favors. You know, if they support me for who I am and what I stand for, I appreciate that, and I try to find out who they are and what they stand for before I cash a check. So my money's come from within Montana, except for that one check from my dad.
So far, the only money I've received from out of state is $160 from my mother-in-law. For some reason, she really likes me and is excited that I'm running for office. So on that, that's the only out-of-state money that I've received. Everything else has been pretty much within the district. And with that, I don't expect to see any money coming in from out of state or anything. On to that, I did get an endorsement from MEA AFT, but along with the endorsement they stated there would be no dollar value coming with this. You know, they put my name out in a few of their publications and that'd be the extent of it. So essentially I think that the only thing that's going to happen will just be money located or coming in just from the district, people from, you know, like Mineral County, Centers County, and also from, you know, the Frenchtown area. Thank you.
My mom sent me a check from out of state, my Uncle Harold, my Uncle Bruce, and my husband's best friend from college who thought badass. Other than that, all the money that my campaign has raised has been in $5, $10, $15, $20 increments. And the majority of that was raised at the hoedown that you guys were invited to last Saturday, which was a great time and a great way for your community to get together. But don't worry, we'll have another such event, and hopefully I can meet more of the district folks, and I'll be sure to invite you. And to find out about those invites, you can find me on Facebook, Jessie Nichols HD14, or at WordPress, Jessie Nichols HD14 at WordPress. So yeah, I don't think you should be able to take money from any corporations, which thank God Montana has very strict campaign finance rules, and I appreciate that. It means the person with the most money doesn't win, hopefully. And hopefully we can overturn the Citizens United ruling that changed our elections dramatically in this country. So thank you.
Well, that concludes the final portion of this event. And we will have all of those questions that we garnered posted to all of the candidates, so you have an opportunity to respond to all of those questions and that you get some answers to those. And again, I think the candidates really are owed a hearty round of applause.